Good evening. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to News in Focus. My name is Faraz Patel. I would like to thank you, the viewer, for staying with us here. And of course, a big weekend of sports, but none more so than the European Championship finals that will be taking place in Berlin, the Olympia Stadion, on Sunday when Spain take on England. Now, the tournament's been hosted at a time where there's a lot of elections happening within Europe, of course, when it's the parliamentary elections within the European Union, and of course, elections happening in different countries. Germany's pulled it off, though, and we've seen the football part of it being well displayed, but also just outside how it has been happening with regards to the fans and the hosting of the competition. Let me welcome from Germany, Daniel Stolpe. He's a German football expert. Daniel, good day. Thank you so much for joining us. I'd like to greet you in German. Guten Tag.
Guten Tag. Thank you very much for having me, and hello to the audience in South Africa.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Where in Germany are you coming to us from, Daniel?
I'm currently in Leipzig.
Oh,
I was born
lovely.
more in the south,
Okay.
and now I'm living in the eastern part of the German country.
Okay, yeah, well, I think everyone knows the team RB Leipzig, and of course, that stadium did host a few games in this competition. Daniel, so we've seen in Europe a lot of the elections happening, European parliamentary elections. We've seen respective countries happening, a lot of cloud or political cloud hanging over what, of course, has been the festivities of this competition. Talk to us about how Germany has still been able to host this competition while there's this political uncertainty that's occurring.
It's a good observation, and I think it's important to say let's separate a bit between political issues and sports. Sports should always be something that is entertaining people. But yes, you're absolutely right. We live in uncertain times, not only in Europe, but in many European countries. You have mentioned the elections, you have mentioned the election for the European Parliament. And unfortunately, there have been quite a few voices and political powers that try to separate again what has been united over many decades with a lot of effort. And even though it is unfair to award the responsibility to football to solve those political problems, I think over the past 4 weeks, we have seen the radiant power that football has, the enormous power that it has to create passion, to unite people, to bring joy, to solve a few problems, to solve a few issues that have been standing between countries. England, for example, I think we've seen some thousands of England fans on the streets in Germany, and I think some of them have appreciated to be embraced again by their European brothers, something that politics have changed over the past few years, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, the England fans have always been labeled as the quote unquote barbarians, or what do they call it? Hooligans. Yeah, hooligans is the actual right name to call that. So, of course, let's see whether, the behavior that they've shown has been a little bit, on the lighter side. Hopefully, that'll carry on up until Sunday. Daniel, Germany as a tourist-friendly destination, of course, the Germans have a certain culture which has been maintained. It's always been seen as this tourist-friendly country, whether you go to, of course, Munich or Berlin, or where you are in Leipzig. So during this competition, I mean, how has Germany really made itself or maintained itself as this friendly destination for the fans to come, not only to enjoy the football, but also at the same time the country itself?
I think this is a question you would primarily need to ask the people who have come to our country. And I hope that everybody has felt well received, well hosted. Germany is at least the geographical heart and center of Europe these days. So for the second time after 2006, when we had the summer fairy tale, Germany was able to host. 2006, it was the world. This time it was Europe. And I think that was one of the slogans, hosting Europe and uniting by football. So I think there were many positive comments written all over Europe. There were some negative ones, but this is something you will always have. I think we've seen some great football, and I think the most important is we've seen some nice activities on fan zones. We've seen here in Leipzig Turkish and Austrian fans partying alongside. We've had Czech and Portuguese fans. And I've seen it in other cities as well. I think Munich was always crowded. the Rhine-Ruhr region, Cologne, Düsseldorf, Dortmund, another epicenter of football. I think that you need a country with a football tradition, as Germany has, with big stadiums, with big cities that are open to hosting visitors from Europe. And I hope, again, you need to ask the fans coming to Germany. I hope that Germany has done a good job here.
Yeah, no, I mean, by the looks of it, I mean, it seems as if there's been a great harmony that has been occurring down in Germany. The fan bases are, I mean, the fans are what makes, the games. The fans are what really pushes everybody to want to watch the spectacle, whether it's the passion of the Spanish fans or the difference the English fans makes or the Turkish fans itself. That is what makes the tournament. From where you are in the ground, from the matches you've either attended or the fan parks that you've been to, I mean, how has the camaraderie been amongst these different fan bases?
Oh, I think it's been good. I think that a couple of fan bases have managed to party alongside. What UEFA has done in a good way was how tickets were shared. I think we haven't seen that in all recent tournaments and competitions, at least that's my impression. The stadiums were almost in every case split 50-50 into take the semifinals, red for the Spanish and blue for the French, or orange for the Dutch and white for the English. So I think the atmosphere on the stands, it has been a fight, but a fight by voices, not by fists. And I think this is what we've all been looking for.
Yeah, I think that's it. Less violence. I mean, we've seen what happened, of course, in the United States of America when Colombia and Uruguay played, that there were players of Uruguay, of course, fighting with Colombian fans. And it was very disturbing in a country where the World Cup is going to be hosted in 2 years' time. Now, Daniel, you would know about the 2006 World Cup. Of course, very different time to where we are now 18 years later. Digital technology has improved. Social media has really taken up a new step. Has Germany done a better job hosting Euro 2024 as opposed to the World Cup 2006, or is it vice versa?
First of all, I think both have been great tournaments, and both have been memorable tournaments. The Euro already, and especially the 2006 World Cup. I think that before 2006, the outside image of Germans, they are cold, they are strict, they do not smile, they do not know how to party. They have a certain history in their country, which we all know in very unfortunate ways. And I think then everybody, including us Germans, was surprised to see us in a new way, to see us able to host people, to party with them, to be open, to be almost in Southern European countries, very open to foreigners, and all of a sudden families could go to stadium, and it was not only a thing for male people. So I think the 2006 World Cup was a turning point in how Germany is reviewed from outside. And now this 2024 Euro, I think it has been a good tournament from a sportive perspective, but also from a fan experience perspective. I think everybody could feel safe, and that's the most important these days.
After the break, we're going to be talking on the field stuff with Daniel, looking ahead how the tournament was and to that final in Berlin on Sunday. Do stay tuned to News in Focus. Welcome back to News in Focus. Now, Daniel, the football. What we have seen over, obviously, the last few seasons, ever since COVID-19 hit, and the football has been played at a rapid pace. Various competitions. The Champions League has been revamped now. It's no more the 8 groups with the last 16. It's now changing where it's like a quote-unquote Super League phase, the irony that UEFA were against. There's been more own goals than actual Golden Boot contenders. I mean, when you look at it, Cody Gakpo is one of the Golden Boot contenders. Daniel Olmo is one of the Golden Boot contenders. The quality of the football has had a bit of an asterisk marks to it. Is there an over-exaggeration with regards to that, or have you personally enjoyed what you have seen on the field?
I have enjoyed it. Definitely, it's been a good tournament. I would give it let's wait for the final exam, but it's a B plus. It's an 8 out of 10, I would say. Spain, for me and for many experts, has by far been the best team in the competition so far. I think that Germany has played a very decent tournament, and they came close in the quarter against Spain. Netherlands got better and better with each game they've played. France and England, even though they came far and England even made it to the final, I think they both played a bit behind their potential and expectations. Before the tournament, I said in an ironic way, if France could send 5 teams, because they are so full of talent, so deep with talent on all positions, if they could send 5 teams, they would make it with 4 to the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So they have disappointed me a bit. And then there were some nice surprises by countries like Turkey, Austria, Switzerland, smaller football countries, not the usual suspects, I would say. A few have disappointed, like Belgium, Portugal. They have been a bit behind expectations, maybe. And this is what it is in a tournament with 24 teams out of 55. That's half of the continent that is represented in this competition. So you have smaller countries. But I liked Slovenia. I liked Albania on and off the pitch.
Yes.
And still some countries missing, like Norway, Erling Haaland hasn't been there.
Yes.
Sweden, a big soccer nation.
Yeah.
Football nation, Ireland, a few nations have missed the entire competition, and yet we've seen a very good one. Maybe a few too many own goals, and maybe a few too many nil-nils on the third match day of the group stage, when teams were looking, where do I finish? How do I make my path through the competition?
Yeah. Now let's talk about your home country, Germany, the Mannschaft. Julian Nagelsmann, new coach, of course, taking over from what was really a difficult period under Hansi Flick. Of course, Germany have, since winning that World Cup 10 years ago, really haven't reached the heights one would have expected. Very new team. You've got Ilkay Gundogan as your captain. There's not that focal out-and-out striker that you had maybe in a Miroslav Klose. You've got Nicholas Füllkrug developing still. Of course, there were positives like Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala. How would you rate Julian Nagelsmann's the Mannschaft during this competition?
I mean, who knows how the tournament would have gone if Spain had not scored in the 119th minute.
Yes.
And then you have a penalty shootout and anything can happen.
Which Germany are quite good at, yes. Which Germany are quite good at in penalties, yes.
So, and in a penalty shootout, I'm pretty sure, and I've said it before on a different interview, if it goes to penalties, Germany will win.
Sure.
So I'm not disappointed at all. I think it's been a learning experience. I think it's been a quite veteran team, quite old in age average. But you've mentioned Wirtz, Musiala. They will all have a few more tournaments coming up in their career, and they learned it on home country. And 2 years from now, I think the World Cup is going to be a successful campaign. I think that Julian Nagelsmann, and he is a young manager himself, he kind of has rejuvenated the German team, die Mannschaft. I think it's normal to go after a period of 2014 with a success winning the World Cup. And it was a good period, let's say from 2008, making it to the Euro finals, 2010, a successful World Cup in South Africa, very memorable one.
Yes.
And then a few years and a few tournaments have not been that successful, but something new is coming. To lose against Spain, they have won 6 out of 6 so far. They have scored 13 goals. They have a strong team. They got also better by each game they've played. Daniel Stolpe, you have mentioned him. So it's not a shame to lose against them, should they be champions or not. And then let's see what the future holds. But I think that the 26 World Cup could be a quite successful campaign. Germany is back amongst the teams to count on winning a trophy.
Yeah, and of course, they've still got a manager that who can coach any team who's German, that's other than Jurgen Klopp, of course, who had just left Liverpool this completed season. Daniel, the players, there have been so many star players. I mean, there's one that stands out for me, Lamine Yamal, the Spanish winger, of course, who plays for Barcelona, who's been incredible. But is there any other player that you've put your focus in and said that this is a sort of player that's really going to be a superstar in the future that can carry a team? You can either be German or from another team. I mean, which player really stood out for you in this competition?
I mean, the one player that you're focusing
Yeah.
at he will turn 17 tomorrow, I
Yes,
think.
yes.
So there is a
Yeah,
there
incredible.
is
Yeah.
a long
Mm,
career ahead of him, and we've talked for the past 20 years. We've been fortunate enough to watch Messi and Ronaldo.
mm,
Maybe, who knows? We're gonna see a generation of Yamal and Jamal, Jamal
yes,
Musiala
yes.
and Lamine Yamal. Nico Williams, we knew him in Europe,
Mm,
but now the continent and the world has seen how fast he is, how skilled he is. I like the Dutch triangle of Xavi, who
yes.
played for Leipzig last
Yes,
season,
yes.
who is now back with Paris. And let's see, I know that Bayern Munich are very high on him. Goalie Kakpo, you've mentioned him, even Donny Malen from Dortmund, who has the potential to play in any club of highest ambitions. Who else? Phil Foden is
Yeah.
exploding, maybe at the right moment.
Jude
Goalkeepers.
Bellingham played for Dortmund also. Yeah, Jude Bellingham. Real
Jude
Madrid player.
Bellingham,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, he's good.
Yeah.
The goal he scored against Slovakia, that was maybe the
Yes.
goal of the tournament. And if England go and win it all, he saved them from
Yeah.
a shameful
Yeah.
exit. I like also the goalkeepers of Netherlands and England. They have performed well. So there were quite a few players, but I think the Spanish and the Dutch youngsters, they have shined.
Right, Daniel, who's winning the title on Sunday? As a German, who would you want it to be? You've got Harry Kane, who plays for Bayern Munich, of course, captain of England. And then you've still got a player who plays in Germany, Daniel Olmo, of course, playing for Leipzig. So if I were to ask you, give me your answer on your head and an answer from your heart to who wins the Euro 2024 title.
Thank you for building that path, because then I can say the winner of heart is going to be Spain,
Right.
because they have convinced me. They are energetic, they are young, they are crazy, and they are so talented. So it would be well deserved for them to play a perfect Euro, 7 games, 7 wins, capturing the title. Wow. We're going to see a lot of them over the next few years. And the champion of the head, then it would be England. The only World Cup they won was against Germany at Wembley. Now they play in German, the German Wembley. They might be exploding at the right moment. I don't know whether they needed to play that way because Gareth Southgate wanted them to play like this, and only in the semi-final he let them off the leash. At least he let them off the leash in the semi-final, and they beat Netherlands. Close, but convincing. So this is a game like many games we've seen in this tournament. It's momentum, Spain, against experience, England. And the question really is, will England score an early one that could make this young Spanish team a little bit nervous? You can touch them defensively. If Spain explode right out of the gates, then England might collapse. So this is going to be a great game in a great stadium. I love the Berlin Olympia Stadium when it's full. It is the final that this tournament deserves. And this tournament, this is for sure, will get a deserved winner.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what's going to happen there in Berlin, 9 o'clock on Sunday. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us. Auf Wiedersehen, as they would say in Germany. Much appreciated.
Auf Wiedersehen. Thank you very much and enjoy the final, South Africa. Hope to see you soon again.
Definitely. I would look forward to, if you do visit South Africa, having you here at our studios. That's Daniel Stolpe. He is a German football expert. Yeah, European Championship final. Is Gareth Southgate going to break England's 58-year tournament curse of not winning anything? Or will Germany win another European Championship title, their first since 2012, and start what could be a golden generation which began when they won their title in 2008 in Austria and Switzerland? Interesting time. We will see what happens. That's all we have for you here on News in Focus. From myself, Faraz Patel, the rest of the team in Johannesburg. Have a good weekend. Most importantly, a safe one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.